for illegal class.
Yeah.
I think it will be tutorial because I can ask direct. Because
Okay.
I should got more people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like once I have this and I can write on the board, then there's even less reason for people to come to lectures, right? Because then you can see everything people face-to-face see, right? Okay, okay. Okay, right. Okay. Okay, right. People online will start in just a bit. I just need to set up. I think for them it's fine, but for you it won't. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Yeah. Maybe. Okay, okay, people online, we will only take about an hour, so I just want to experiment something. It's mirrored here. From what I've heard, yeah, apparently you can do this. No, it's still mirrored. Still mirrored. Okay. Still mirrored. Okay, people online, just a minute. I've definitely seen something like clip your screen in Google Meet.
I've got an example, the issue that was happening that led me to do this. Students done some work on a paper, screen on it was just difficult. Okay, look up Google Meet Grid View Fix. Okay, and look that up in the Chrome store. So now let me show you how.
Oh, this is not Google Chrome. I wonder. Visual effects. This is not visual effects. Things, video. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how to do this immediately. I need to figure it out. Do we have Google Chrome? Ah, it works. Okay, great. Now I know what to do. Okay, it's actually just I need to download a plugin or something. Okay, okay. Right, good, good, very good. I'm very happy. By the way, I just want to ask, for your group, right, did you all share the video recordings with your classmates?
Yes, they will.
Okay, got it. Okay, good.
When we share the group.
Okay, good, thanks. All right, okay. Okay, right. People online, let's make a start. Sorry for the delay. We were looking at how to flip the camera around. Okay, let me start the recording. You can turn on the air conditioner if you want, yeah. Because just now it was really, really good. Okay, right. Let's just quickly start with the attendance. Okay, right. Brian.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay, good morning. Okay, Guilin.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, sorry, I accidentally left the call. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Yes, thank you. Okay, Eileen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jia Hui.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, Word Vision.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Julia.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Kai.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sinro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yep, thank you. Esther.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ji Liang. Okay, Chun Xian.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jin Nan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Min Yu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Wen Xian.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jun Xiang.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Hong Sheng. Okay, Martin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jian Fu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Wan Qi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Queenie.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Yao Guan.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rachel.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jun En.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Xin Yi.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Kai Mun.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay, right, everyone's here. Okay, now, just remember, yeah, just a remember. Oh my gosh, just a reminder. Our midterm test is this Saturday. Okay, 6 to 8 p.m. But you should plan for something like 5:50 to 8:30 ish, because at 8 a.m. is when the test officially ends, and then you have half an hour to submit. Okay, so you should plan for something like 8:30, 8:35. Okay, so don't like don't be like 8 o'clock immediately you go have barbecue with your friend or something. Okay, so yeah, just take note of that. Okay, make sure you give yourself a bit of time at the start and some time at the end as well. Okay, because you will need to join the Google Meet. Okay, and then you will it takes some time for the Google Classroom assignments to go through. Okay, so that is why you need to give yourself a bit of time at the start and at the end. Okay, now just a reminder that what you do, you write on your piece of paper, take a picture of your answer, paste into the relevant section on the answer booklet. So if it's section A, you paste at section A, section B, you paste at section B. Okay, now when you've done that, you upload the Excel file. Okay, don't come up with your own Excel file, don't give me a PDF. It must be an Excel file, okay, that you submit. All right, and that's basically it. If you're not sure, you can also ask in the exam. There will be a Google Meet for you to join. Okay, you can ask me any questions. Okay, well, obviously, if you ask like, sir, what's the answer to this question, you won't get a reply. But if you're not sure how to submit, or maybe your connection was not very good, you're not sure if it has been submitted, you can check with me. Okay, but obviously, don't ask me 1 minute before the end of your exam, because it's like if I find out that you actually haven't submitted, you will be late. Okay, Again, if you have any connection problems or like your laptop died or something, all right, you must notify me through the Google Meet before the end of the submission window. So it's like the exam officially ends at 8, submissions close at 8:30. If you tell me at 9 that you were late, you will still get the late submission penalty. Okay, so do take note, yeah, all right, do take note. Okay, now let us start with our tutorial.
Sir, the file name need to rename.
Okay, so it's not, how should I say this? It's not like a super important thing. Okay, so maybe you forget to rename something is fine, because when you submit through the Google form, it will still show like your file name -Ng Kian Fu. Okay, but I would say make at least it should contain your student ID, your name, and the course. Okay, so something like ABBE 1033 Ng Kian Fu, whatever is your student ID. Okay, so that at least I can trace it. But it's not like super important that you follow a specific format. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, just let me pull up the tutorial. Okay, right. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, so right, I now have a webcam, so I can draw stuff and write stuff on the board. So you will be able to see it. Okay, you just have to look at my other screen. Okay, you see there are 2 Daniels here. Okay, you just have to look at the other one. Okay, now question 1. Which of the following is the best example of a monopoly? Okay, what about the rest? Okay, right, thank you. So A is the best example of a monopoly. Local power utility basically just means TNB. Okay, so TNB, it is a monopoly, all right? So that's the best example. Now, fast food restaurant, okay, I would probably say it's an oligopoly, because there are not that many fast food restaurants, okay? It's like you have KFC, McDonald's, Burger King there. They're very big, okay? And there are not that many of them. Department store is supermarket, okay? So I would say department store is oligopoly as well. Okay, now what about wheat farmer? What do you think? Wheat is your gandum, yeah? Okay, what market structure do you think that would be? Yeah, okay, I would say perfect competition, because it's a bit like rice, okay? Like if I randomly take two cups of rice, I show it to you, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Okay, unless of course I show you something like Japanese rice and basmati, then of course you would be able to say, they're different. But if I show you 2 cups of basmati grown by different farmers, you would not be able to tell the difference. Okay, so in that sense, I would say wheat is perfect competition. All right. Now let's move on to the second question. Which of the following is an assumption under monopoly? Okay, what about the rest? Okay, very good, thank you. A is the correct answer. For monopoly, there are extremely high barriers to entry. This is important when we talk about long-run profits, okay? If you have high barriers to entry, there will be profits in the long run. If there are low barriers to entry, there will be 0 profits in the long run, okay? Now, what's the problem with B?
One seller.
Okay, Brian, is a bit more specific than less. It's okay, only one seller, yeah. If you have more than one, it becomes oligopoly, okay? So monopoly, only one seller. What about C? What's the problem with C? The product has a number of close substitutes. Yeah, okay, under monopoly, there are no substitutes, yeah, because otherwise you won't have to buy from the monopoly, you can buy from someone else, okay? So D is irrelevant, it's like we don't care about quality. I would say TNB is not very high quality because like you have a flood and then no power supply, okay? I wouldn't say it has very high quality, but it is still a monopoly, okay? So B is wrong because there is only one seller. C is wrong because there are no substitutes. A is the only correct answer. Okay? Now, question 3. We've talked a bit about this. If you have a monopolist earning positive economic profits, what prevents other firms from competing away the profits? In other words, what prevents other firms from coming in and stealing business away from the monopolist? Okay, I need to define D, but let people give their answers. Okay, what about the rest? What do you think? Anyone wants to take a guess? Okay. Okay, right. The correct answer is A, high barriers to entry. Okay, it's again the concept of this. Yeah, you see someone making lots of money, but if you cannot start a business, then you can only watch someone, earn lots of money. You cannot start a business and also earn lots of money. Okay. So that is what we mean by barriers to entry. Can you start a business or not? If you cannot, then whoever is earning lots of money will continue to earn lots of money because there is no competition. Okay. Now, antitrust laws. Okay. I'm going to type in the chat. Yeah. Right. Will it show up here? Right. Give me a minute. Okay. Antitrust laws are laws to prevent formation of monopolies. Okay, so if the law is to prevent formation of monopolies, that means it will definitely not help the monopoly earn money. Okay, so what do we think about what do we say when we think about antitrust laws? Okay, basically monopolies like one firm in the whole market. Antitrust laws will say something like, if you're the only one in the market, you must split into two companies. Something like that. Or if there are two companies who want to merge and become one firm, antitrust laws will say you cannot do that. Okay? Then you end up as an oligopoly. Okay? So antitrust laws will will actually help firms compete away the profits. Okay? Because it prevents the formation of a monopoly. Okay? So C is definitely wrong because if there are low barriers to entry, firms can easily enter the market and compete away the profits. Okay. Now, this economies of scale, okay, why is that important? This economies of scale basically prevent firms from becoming big, right? Because the more you produce, the higher is your average cost. So you want to stay small, and if you stay small, you cannot become a monopoly. Okay. So A is the only correct answer. Okay, high barriers to entry. Okay, any questions so far? People online? Everything okay? All right, okay. Right, let's move on to question 4. Okay. Right, which statement is true for a profit maximizing monopolist? Okay, Brian says A. What about the rest? Okay, so the correct answer is A, all right? When you have a monopolist, you always face a downward sloping demand curve, okay? That is like, how should I say this? This is always true, except for perfect competition, okay? If you have perfect competition, then you have a horizontal demand curve, but in all other cases, you face a downward sloping demand curve. So A is correct, okay? A is the correct answer. Now, B is like not really relevant. C is definitely wrong because if you are profit maximizing, you will produce where MC is equal to MR, okay? And D is definitely wrong if you have a correct answer, okay? Now, question 5. Okay, so question 4, the correct answer is A, yeah? Okay. Now, question 5, what is the profit maximization point? This one is like, we've done this so many times. Okay, the correct answer is C, MR is equal to MC. All right, so this is the standard thing. Whenever you maximize profit, you will have MR equals MC. Okay, now question 6. An industry with a large number of firms, differentiated products, and free entry and exit, what do we call that? Okay, we call that monopolistic competition. Okay, we call that monopolistic competition. Now, how do we change question 6 to give us perfect competition? Okay, yeah. Okay, so Brian, what kind of product? Okay, now in the exam, you should use the term identical product, yeah, because same is not strong enough. Okay, we need them to be completely the same. Okay, so for that, you use homogeneous or identical products. Okay, right, so that. Okay, so we use identical or homogeneous to capture the meaning that is even stronger than same. Okay, so yeah, so you need to use the proper term here, but that's correct. Okay, the difference between monopolistic competition and perfect competition is literally down to the type of products. Okay, and that affects their demand curve and how they set prices as well. Okay, now question 7. Okay, what kind of demand curve does a monopolistic competitor face, and how does it set the price? Okay, A is the correct answer. You face a downward sloping demand curve and you have a price searcher. Okay. Now, question 8. Okay, question 8, initially I was very confused, okay? But actually, don't think too much about it. Okay, question 8. Who determines the price under monopolistic competition? Okay, the correct answer is B, the seller. Okay, this is to contrast with perfect competition where the seller does not set the price. Okay, so yeah, initially I was like, all prices are determined by the market, so I went for C, but it's actually B. It's meant to tell you that under monopolistic competition, you have a price searcher. That's why the seller can set the price. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Okay, now question 9. All right. Which of the following statements is false? Okay, A is the correct answer. Okay, the monopolistic competitor is a price searcher, not a price taker. Only perfect competition is only a perfect competitor will give you a price taker. Okay, everything else will give you price searchers. Okay. Yep. Okay. Right. Let's continue to question 10. Okay. I'm not sure if you have seen the terms before, but if you haven't, that's fine. Okay. Now, question 10. In the long run, a monopolistic competitor, what can it do? I just want to see your answers first before I give you the definitions. Okay, right, we have a mix. Now, before I tell you, okay, before I give you the answer, normal profit means profit equals 0. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Okay, and then economic profit means profit greater than 0. Okay? Right, so I'll just write this here. It doesn't make sense. Why would anyone call zero profit normal profit? Okay, but that's the definition. All right. So whenever you see someone say I'm earning normal profit, it doesn't mean they have lots of money. It means that they just ngam cover their costs. Okay, so it's like this very weird thing, but somehow that's how the term came up to be. Okay, so for question 10, in the long run, a monopolistic competitive firm earns only normal profit. Okay, remember the diagram I showed you where the demand curve shifts inwards until it just touches the average total cost. At that point, you don't earn any profit, which is saying you earn normal profit. Okay, does that make sense? So the correct answer is A, yeah? Okay, you don't lose money, but you don't earn money. People online, is that all right? Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, you just need to remember that weird definition. Is like, I don't know who came up with it, but somehow that's what it means. Okay, now let us move on to question 11. Okay, now question 11. How do we describe, okay, not really how do we describe, what can you say about the demand curves for monopolistic competition and perfect competition? And what can you say about the elasticity? Okay, Brian, read carefully. Yeah? You're not comparing monopolistic competition and monopoly. You're comparing monopolistic competition and perfect competition. Okay, Kianfu, you need to check back on the values of price elasticity. What is big, what is small? Okay, just to give you a hint, you can look at the board. Okay, let's look at the board. That should help you figure out which one is bigger, which one is smaller. Okay, what about the others online? Okay, PED is just price elasticity of demand. Yeah, okay, that's just how I tend to write it instead of ED. Okay. Now, this symbol means infinity. It means like super, 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 super big. Okay? Now, anyone online would like to give it a go? Okay, Brian says C, Kinfu says A. Any other guesses? Okay, right. So the correct answer is C. Okay, the correct answer is C. Now I will just put them together on the same diagram, yeah? Is this blocking the view? Okay. Okay, so yeah, P, Q. This is the demand curve for perfect competition. This is the demand curve for monopolistic competition. Okay, so from this we know that the demand curve for monopolistic competition is steeper than the demand curve for perfect competition. Okay, because this we call flat, this we call steep. Okay, so it's either A or C. Now, you need to think about the elasticity. If vertical is 0 and flat is infinity, that means perfect competition must have higher elasticity than monopolistic competition. Okay, so you just have, in other words, just think about this, yeah? Okay, think about what happens when you change the price in perfect competition versus in monopolistic competition. If you increase the price, perfect competition, you go from selling everything to selling nothing. Whereas under monopolistic competition, you increase the price, your quantity demanded falls, but you will still sell something. That means perfect competition has greater elasticity. Okay, so the correct answer is actually C. Okay, demand for monopolistic competitors' firm product is less than that for perfectly competitive. Okay, does that make sense? So the correct answer is C, yeah? Any questions? Okay, right. Let's move on to question 12, okay? What is a key feature shared by all oligopoly markets? Okay, Brian says B. What about the rest? Okay. Oh, Kinfu says C. Okay, now, Kinfu, I want you to check back on the assumptions for oligopoly. Okay, now what this question is saying, for A, B, C, and D, which one must be true for all oligopoly firms? Okay. Is it a must for oligopoly to have differentiated products? Or can you have something else? Okay, that's the question. Can you have something else? Any other guesses? Okay, right. So the correct answer is actually B. Okay, now I will tell you why it is okay to have a large number of sellers, but it is also okay to not have a large number of sellers. Okay, now, but B is the one that must be true for all oligopoly markets. Okay, B must be true for all oligopoly markets because in perfect competition, monopolistic competition, and monopoly, the firms are independent. They don't care about what other people do. But in oligopoly, they do care about what other people do. And that is the key characteristic. Now, C, okay, C, it is not necessary for the products to be differentiated. They can be homogeneous as well. We accept both cases. D is definitely wrong because D is about, okay, for D you must have high barriers to entry. Okay. Did someone want to ask a question? Okay, right. Now I'm going to show you an example of why you can also have a large number of sellers under oligopoly. Okay. Now look at the board here. Okay, look at the board. I'm going to draw a few circles. The circles just mean how big the companies are. Okay. Now it is possible for oligopoly to look like this. Okay. Now you can have several big firms, and then you can have some small firms. Okay, so think about something like this. Okay, think about going to a shopping mall, Mid-Valley, okay, KLCC. Okay, so you have the big firms. You have H&M. Okay, you have Zara. You have Padini. Okay. Padini is my favorite because they provide my sizes. Okay, so you have the big ones, but you also have all the small ones. Think of the, the stalls in the shopping malls. This one selling tudong, this one selling shoes. Okay, this one selling jewelry. Okay, the small ones. Now, they are small, but the important thing is that there are a few big ones. Okay, now that is one way oligopoly can work. So it is still possible to have many firms. It's just that you must have a few big ones. Now, there is also oligopoly where there are no small firms. Okay, something like this. Okay, what examples do we have? Think about Public Bank, okay, Thong Leong Bank, okay, Maybank. Okay, now there are no small banks, right? You don't see someone, having like a tiny bank in your kampong or something, right? But everyone is big and there are only a few of them. Okay, so this is another way oligopoly can work. So in one sense, the total number of firms doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a few big firms that are interdependent. Okay, so the key characteristic again is not about the number, but rather the interdependence between the firms. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Right. Okay, now, so let's move on to question 13 and 14. Okay, so what is the most significant barrier to entry in an oligopoly market? Brian, double check again, yeah? Because some of the answers here belong to oligopoly, belong to monopoly. Okay, great. Okay, right. Now, the correct answer is D. I'm going to show you on the lecture slides here. Okay. Okay, oligopoly is right at the end. Okay. C, economies of scale. Okay. Okay. The rest is true, but economies of scale are the most likely. Okay. Now this one makes sense. Think about banks. Okay. Think about banks. Can you have a bank that serves like 10 people? Cannot. It's not possible. Okay. You need a bank that serves like 100,000 people. Maybe that might be even too small. Okay. So in one sense, you need to go big or go home for oligopoly. All right, so we would say economies of scale is more important. The rest may be true, but economies of scale probably is, the more common one. All right, so we would say D is the correct answer. Okay, now let us move on to the last question. Okay, which of the following is an assumption of oligopoly? Okay, again, yeah, which one must be true for all oligopoly firms? Okay, what about the others? Okay, very good. There are a few large sellers. Okay, that is the key point. All right. A is wrong because you need high barriers to entry. C is like, it can be true, it can be not true. In one sense, it's not really important because homogeneous is fine, differentiated is also fine. Okay, and it doesn't assume perfect information here. All right. Now, okay, any questions for the MCQ? Anything you want to confirm again? People online, everything okay so far? Okay, now I just want to check, yeah. Okay, for people online, how clear can you read that handwriting? Because I'm planning on using this for the lectures. So maybe that will help. You know, when I draw diagrams, I write stuff. Maybe that works. How clear is that for you, people online? Clear enough. All right, okay, good. Okay, right, let's talk about the essay questions, yeah? Okay. Now, for the essay questions, it's not enough, okay, especially for question 1, it is not enough for you to just tell me what type of market structure is this. You must also use the example given and link it to the characteristics of the market structures, okay? So let's do this one by one. Okay, question 1, okay. Apple, Samsung, and Huawei owns a combined market share of 70%. The products are fairly similar. When one company lowers prices, rival companies also have to do that to remain competitive. Okay, what market structure are we talking about? Yep, okay. People online, what do you think? Actually, I don't know if they can hear you. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, it is oligopoly, all right, it is oligopoly. Now, let's think about the characteristics of oligopoly, okay? Now, I'm going to, okay, can someone give me one characteristic? Okay, there are a few large sellers, okay? A few large, okay, I will sort over. A few large sellers. Okay, how do we see this? You can cut and paste from the passage given and put it into the chat. How do we see this, that there are few sellers? A few large sellers as well.
Over 70% of the global.
Yep, okay. So we can see this by Apple, yep, Samsung, and Huawei own a combined market share of over 70% of the global. Okay. Now, that's the first one. What about the second one? Anyone wants to give me the next characteristic? Okay, so interdependence, how do we see that?
When one company lowers price, another company is offer process.
Yeah, okay. In other words, it's like if one company lowers the price, another person, the others must also follow and cut their prices, okay? So how do you see that? When one company lowers prices, rival companies follow suit, okay? Now, there is still one more. Okay, so would that be differentiated or homogeneous? I would say something in between. It's like fairly similar. I would still call it differentiated. Yeah. Okay. But in this case, it's not really that important. Okay. You just have to say, okay, oligopoly firms, okay, sell either homogeneous or differentiated products. Okay. And then you just have to say the products in this case are fairly similar. All right. I would not say so. No, you don't have to choose. Okay. So you just have to say homogeneous Okay, in this case, the products are slightly differentiated. Hey, they say fairly similar, that means it's not the same, but still close enough, okay? So, yeah, this is how I would write it, okay? So, again, 4 marks, the first thing you need to say is what kind of market structure, and then you go through the characteristics, okay? Right. Okay, everyone okay online on how you answer this kind of questions? Okay, right, let's look at 1B. Okay, let's look at 1B. There are lots of barber shops in any town, as barber shops tend to have low startup costs. Okay, important, yeah? Since each of the hairdressers has slightly different skills, the price charged will depend on the services offered. Okay, what kind of market structure is this? Yeah. Okay, people online, what do you think? Okay, monopolistic competition. Now, monopolistic competition, we have four important characteristics. Okay, now can someone give me one of them? Okay, I will give you one and you tell me how you can see this on the passage. Okay, price searcher. How can we see this on the passage? Yeah. Okay, so because they have different scales and therefore different prices. Okay. Let me see. Okay, different scales, therefore different prices. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, now what else? Okay, what other characteristics of monopolistic competition do we know? Yeah, okay, many sellers. Okay, and here it's quite obvious. It tells you there are lots of barber shops. There are lots of barber shops in town. Okay. Next, what else do we know? What can we say about the products? People online, what do you think? What can we say about the products? Do all the hairdressers sell the same product? Slightly differentiated, okay? So they sell differentiated products. Okay. Hairdressers have different skills. Okay, now, is it easy to set up a barber shop? Yeah, okay, so in this case, we have easy entry and exit, okay? How do we see that barber shops have low startup costs? Okay, so again, you just need to go through the characteristics one by one and use evidence from the description given, okay? People online, any questions? Okay, now, if not, then let us continue. Okay, now, question 2. All right, now before we do the calculation, okay, how do you know the monopolist is a price searcher? What is the key thing about price searcher that you do not see in a price taker? Yeah, okay. Now, Brian, we're talking about pricing. Okay, we're talking about the price. What makes a price taker different from a price searcher? Okay, suppose we are looking at a price taker. What would we see in terms of the price? Okay, let me draw on the board, okay, then it will be a bit easier, okay? Okay, so let's look at firm A, okay? The price and the quantity. Okay, if I were to show you something like this, okay, versus firm B, okay? Okay, class. Which one would be a price taker in this case, based on what I've written on the board? Okay, A would be a price taker because A that has no control over the price. It cannot change the price. But for B, they can change the price, therefore they are price searcher. So in this case, okay, how do you know that the monopolist is a price searcher? You can change the price, okay? Very good. All right. So how do you answer this question? How do you know the monopolist is a price searcher? Okay. Let me show you. Okay. So I'm just going to paste the answer in the chat so that you can see how it's written. Give me a minute here. Okay. So first of all, you need to say the monopolist has to lower the price in order to sell more. That's the first thing, okay? And then you give me an example using the numbers, all right? So for example, to increase from 10 to 15 units, you have to lower the price from 10 to 9, okay? But for a price taker, the seller does not have the ability to change the price. Okay, does that make sense? So first of all, you tell me what does it mean to be a price searcher. You give me an example using the numbers, and then you say what about the price taker? What can the price taker do or what can it not do? Okay? Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes to note down the answer. Okay, while I prepare the next one. Okay, right. You done? Okay, right. Part B, I've written the answers on the board. Okay, so just compare your answers. Okay. I've not written out everything. I've just given you the marginal revenue and marginal cost. If you can't see anything, just let me know, okay? Okay, right. Any issues with the answers, the calculation? Everything okay? All right, okay. Now, that is part B. Okay, you just do the calculations. Now, part C. Okay, part C, you might be thinking like 3 marks, like, how do I do this? Okay, actually, it's very, very simple. How do you decide at what level do you maximize your profit? Okay, MR is equal to MC. That is literally the answer, okay? It's just that how do you write it, okay? How do you write it? You say the monopoly will set its output such that MR equal MC, okay? So let me just write it out, yeah? Because you can't just write MR equals MC in the exam, okay? You have to write something like the monopolist sets output such that marginal revenue, the revenue equals marginal. Okay, so you just have to write that. Okay, which is basically MR is equal to MC. It's just that in the exam you have to write a complete sentence. Okay. Now, part D. Okay. Determine the profit maximizing output, price, and profit. Okay, right. So what is the quantity that you will produce? Brian, quantity. I don't think there's 8 in the quantity. Okay, you will produce 20. How do you see that? Okay, at 20, the marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Okay, now, and the price is 8, as Brian has pointed out. Now we need to calculate the profit. Okay, now, anyone has gotten the profit? Okay, so let me just wrap this out. Okay, so we know that quantity is 20, price is 8. Okay, anyone has gotten the profit? Okay, just to give you a hint, profit equal to price times quantity minus total cost. Okay, so we have price, we have quantity. Okay, let me. Okay, so you have 8 times 20. Now, what is the total cost? You refer to the question, it is 100. Okay, so you have 160 minus 100, you end up with RM60. Okay, now a few things you need to do. You must write your formula, you must do your substitution, and you must write your RM. Okay, if you don't write your RM, I will literally write in your answer, yeah? Okay, I will write in your answer, is this dollar, okay, or maybe rupiah, or number of chickens. No joke, yeah, I actually write this in people's scripts, yeah? Okay, because if you are answering a question, you must tell me what does it mean by 60, okay? So, yeah, you must have RM60, all right? Okay, so, yeah, in general, it's something like this, okay? Why is it so important that, you show your steps, you show your working, that sort of thing? Now, remember, this is an online exam. I cannot see what you're thinking, okay? So one way we figure out whether people actually answer question, understand what they're doing, is by making you show the working, okay? Because if you got your answer by 10 baht, you will not be able to produce the working, all right? And when you're answering the question, okay, you are effectively telling me, this is how I'm thinking, okay? This is how I'm thinking, I understand. So when you answer a question, but you skip lots of steps, you don't write the formula, you don't show the steps, I don't know what you're thinking, okay? You want to convince me that you know what you're doing. So that's why you must show me the steps and everything, okay? Right, so that is question 2D. Okay, any questions so far? Everything okay? People online? Okay, right, let's continue then. Okay, 3A, explain any 3 characteristics of an oligopolist. Okay, where on the slides can you get this? Yeah, slide 29, yeah, okay, it's second last slide, yeah, okay? So you just have to write down this whole thing. You just have to write down the whole slide, okay? And you tell me what is the assumption, okay? And then you explain, and that will give you the full marks, okay? So I think this one is fine, okay? Not too hard, okay? Now, the next one though, okay? Part B, okay? Now, first of all, distinguish the demand curves faced by a perfectly competitive firm and a monopolistic competitive firm. Okay. Now, for this one, you will not find it in the slides because you will have to like pull information from 2 different slides. Okay. Now, let me draw the diagram. For this one, the labeling is quite important. Okay. E, U, E, U. Okay, so perfect competition. Okay. Monopolistic competition. Okay, now the important thing here is that you must also label the MR. It is not enough to just draw the demand curve, you must also label the MR. So for this one, you need to write D equals to MR equals to AR. Okay, now for monopolistic competition, D is equal to AR. And this will be your MR. Okay, this is what you must label. All right, this is what you must label. Now, okay, so these are your diagrams. The next thing you need to do is to tell me, okay, I'm going to write on the board, yeah, okay, price searcher, okay, or price taker, and why. Okay, now you need to tell me why, all right? So, first of all, perfect competition, we know that it is a price taker. Why is that the case? Okay, identical products. Okay, because they sell identical products, no control over the price. Okay, now that is for price taker. For price searcher, you need to say differentiated products differentiated products. All right, now what does it mean? To sell more, the firm must lower the price. Okay, so that's basically what you need to do when explaining the price searcher or price taker. Okay, does that make sense for now? Okay, of course you need to write in full sentences, yeah. Okay, I'm just using diagrams to help you understand. Okay, now the next part is to talk about elasticity. Okay, who has higher elasticity in this case? Elasticity. Price elasticity. Who is more sensitive to changes in price? Okay, so yeah, so the next thing you need to write, okay, is who has higher, okay, or you can also write lower, yeah, okay, I don't mind. Okay, price elasticity of demand. Okay, so you just have to tell me the perfect competition has higher price elasticity of demand compared to monopolistic competition, and that's it. Okay, so demand curve, a few things. Okay, just to roughly sum it up here. Demand curve, you must show me what it looks like. You must tell me what does this tell you about the pricing behavior. Okay, in other words, how do they set their prices? Can they set it or can they not set it? Why? Okay, why can they set it? Why can they not set it? It depends on their products. Okay, and then the next thing you tell me about elasticity. Okay, right. People online, does that make sense?
So if I write like the curve goes horizontal or downward sweep, is it unnecessary?
I'm just thinking now. Okay, if you draw the diagram, you don't need to say that. If you say that, maybe you don't need to draw the diagram. Because they carry the same meaning, right? Yeah. Okay, so if you draw the diagram, you don't need to explicitly say one is horizontal, one is downward sloping. But I would encourage you to still do that. Just to be safe, because the marking scheme is never, how should I say it? It's like the marking scheme depends on who is setting the question. Some people will write it in, some people will not. So I would say, play safe and write it in. Okay? Yeah, that is what I would say. Because the marking scheme some people's marking scheme, okay, I can tell you. Some people's marking schemes look for keywords. So, they will look for price searcher, price taker, differentiated, identical. Okay, then it's like tick, 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 tick. Some people would be like, this whole thing, 3 marks. Yeah, whenever you see curve, it's best you draw. Okay? Whenever you see curve, it's best you draw. Okay? Now, why is it important how people set marking schemes? Because if they just, this whole bit, they say 3 marks, then it will be more of an impression mark. Okay, it's like I look at it, oh, you have everything, 3 marks. If you miss something, 2 marks. Okay, if you covered very little, 1 mark or nothing. Okay, but the problem is that you do not know ahead of time what kind of marking scheme is going to come up. You don't know, not even I know, because I don't set the question paper. All right, so the best thing you can do is to protect yourself, write everything. Okay, write everything. If you think it's relevant, just write. Okay, but again, don't overdo it. Okay, don't overdo it. Don't write, 10 marks worth when it's something like 6 marks. Okay, if you spend half one whole page on something like this, you are overdoing it. Okay, because this is like really simple. Okay, this is really simple. Don't overdo it. Okay, right. Okay. Now, part C, okay? Part C is basically part B again. Just that this time you don't need a diagram. Okay? Now, part C, you basically just have to say, okay, what are the differences, okay? Just let me double confirm, because it will sound too easy to be true. Okay? For part C, you just have to say who is the price taker, who is the price taker, who sells differentiated products, who sells identical products. That's all. Okay. For 3C, okay, you just have to say price searcher versus price taker. Okay. Homogeneous versus different. Okay, those are the only two, because everything else is the same, right? Many sellers, okay, and ease of entry and exit. Those are the same. So the only differences are in terms of their pricing behavior and the goods they produce. Okay. Would you get marks if you wrote about the shape of the demand curve? Probably. Okay, probably. If you say, okay, one has horizontal demand curve, one has downward sloping demand curve, I think I would accept that as well. Okay. But yeah, I hope this question doesn't come up because this question doesn't make sense. It's like B and C are practically the same question. Okay, so yeah. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, if not, let us move on to the last question. Okay, now question 4. Wilson Studio provides photo shoot services with various packages that are different from other studios. Each package charges different prices that are regular customers that do their photo shoots at Wilson Studios. Okay, now for A, what market structure is this? Okay, for A, what market structure is this? Okay, Brian says oligopoly. Okay, now, Brian, oligopoly, remember there must be mutual interdependence. Do we see mutual interdependence? Does the passage indicate in any way that Wilson Studio depends on other studios? Okay, so if we don't assume oligopoly, is there something else that might work better? Yeah, okay, I would say monopolistic, yeah, okay. Now, why monopolistic? Okay, so the answer to A is monopolistic competition. We need to now explain why it is monopolistic in part B. Okay, now let's take a look at the passage. Okay, now I'm going to highlight a section. Okay, now I want to tell you, I want you to tell me, okay, this passage, all right, this passage, which characteristic of monopolistic competition can you think of? Monopolistic competition. What does this passage remind you of about monopolistic competition? There's one word in there that is like super important. Differentiated products. Okay, yeah, differentiated products, all right? So here you need to give evidence, yeah? Okay, differentiated products. Now, here it's a 6-mark question, 2 characteristics. That means it's 3 marks and 3 marks, okay? Now, the first mark is telling me what is the characteristic. The second mark is explaining it, and the third mark is your evidence, okay? So what does it mean by differentiated products? Consumers can tell the difference between products sold by different sellers. Okay. Now, your evidence is Wilson Studio provide packages different from other studios. Okay, so I've put it up. Okay, give me a minute, yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is roughly how you answer. You tell me what is the characteristic, you explain it, and then you give me the evidence from the passage. Okay? The last part, okay, like the part where you give me evidence from the scenario is what we call application. Okay, because everyone will be able to, explain what is differentiated products, but whether you can link it to the question is a slightly different problem. Okay? Right. Okay, right. Now let us look at the question again. Okay, what does this tell you? Okay. People online, what does this part tell you? Each package is charging different prices. Okay, price searcher, very good. All right, so price searcher. Oh, that is really loud. Okay, so you can say something like, sellers have some control over the price. Okay, and then in terms of the evidence, you can say, okay, Wilson Studio charges different prices for different packages. Okay, so again, the first mark, price searcher. Second mark, sellers have some control over the price. Third mark, linking it to the question. Okay, so that is, it's not really hard, okay, I would say it's mostly, I would say technique menjawab soalan. Okay, it's like you know what is the answer, you just need to be able to write it out in a way that is clear and we know what and can be understood, all right? So I think that is all for today. Are there any questions left, just in case? Okay, I have been thinking about this. It's like, it is correct, but can we see it from the passage? That's the thing. I can't really tell because it's given in the marking scheme. But then it's like, I can't tell, right? The passage doesn't say there are many sellers. It just says there are other studios. So it's like, I would say price searcher and differentiated products are the clearest. Okay, I would say those are the clearest. If you want to, you can. Okay, I can show you what the question says, yeah, or what the suggested answer is. Okay. This is what the marking scheme says. I'm not sure it works. As in, like, how do you see many from the passage? A bit hard to say, but it does work. It's monopolistic competition, so definitely you need many sellers. So class, if you want to write many sellers, you need to say, you need to emphasize the part other studios. It was so loud, oh my gosh. Okay, so I would say you need to emphasize the part other studios. Okay, but again, I feel like it's a bit forced. You get what I mean? It's like you're trying to say like a dog is a cat, a bit, because it's like I don't see a lot of indication that there is many sellers, because like this previous question, yeah, okay. Like if you look at 1B, it says there are many barber shops in town. That one is obvious. It says many sellers. But this one is like, yeah, I can't say. But again, if you write it down, as long as your answer makes sense, we will still give the mark. Okay? So yeah, it depends on how well you can justify your answer. If you, yeah, but I would say in the exam, yeah, don't risk it in one sense. It's like in the exam, play safe, go for the ones you sure are correct. Okay? So, just in case, someone is a bit, because I may not end up marking your papers. Okay, there is no guarantee that I will end up marking your papers. But what I would say is that there are some people who mark a bit more strictly than others. You never know. You never know who you end up with. Okay. Now you will know how I mark based on the midterm exam, but again, there's no guarantee that you will have me as your marker for the final exam. So I would say, play safe. Go for the ones you sure are correct. Okay, you sure are correct. If you're not sure, yeah. Okay, if you're not sure, make sure you fulfill here they want 2 characteristics, right? So you write down the 2 that you're sure, and then you write the one you're not sure. Because we don't really penalize people for non-relevant answers. Okay, it's like we see this, we're like, I don't think this is the answer, but we will be like, ignore. If you write something wrong, okay, so if you write something like, perfect competition, demand is perfectly inelastic. That one is definitely wrong, then you will lose marks. Because then I'll be like, wait, does this guy know or not know what he's writing? But if you write something that's 2 that are correct and 1 which is like ambiguous, I would be like, okay, never mind, I didn't see that. Okay, you just don't get marks for that part. Okay? So just to check, are we done with the questions? Any more? Okay, right. Okay, so I think that's all for today. All right, so any questions from the people online? Okay, if not, then I shall see you in the lecture. If you have any questions about the midterm, okay, just send me an email and let's see how, I can explain it. If I can explain it via email, I will explain it using the email, okay? If not, we will, arrange something, okay? So feel free to get in touch, okay? But yeah, that's all for today. I will see you on Thursday, okay? Have a good week. Okay, you're welcome. See you. Okay, welcome. See you.